All right, so welcome to the holiday party. You can imagine that, I'm dressed in heels and red if you want to, and I'm meeting you at the door, taking your coat. How's that? And we're just doing the holiday party. So this actually is an 8-year-old tradition. Now, definitely an annual event. I was doing it before that, but for somebody else. And then I started realizing, what am I doing? I'm gonna do this for my business and for my tribe, my community, and was already getting asked about, what are good gift ideas? What do I do about the holidays? And we all know that, temptation and treats are a little harder to pass up, especially if you feel like this tradition is really worth it. Like, I don't want to miss those caramels from Marion, that was my next door neighbor, by the way. And all of those things that come up for us. So that's what really today is all about. It's kind of my little tips and tricks for getting through the holidays. I don't like to say holiday survival because really I think this entire year has been kind of overusing that word. And here's how we can just kind of thrive and consciously decide maybe there are those days, there are going to be those days, those moments, those parties and platters that we don't want to pass up, that we consciously decide. But if you've got some choices, it may be easier for you if there are good choices available that you can take it. So I'm going to share with you a lot of things about literally what I'm choosing, I'm giving, I'm getting or wishing for, and some things that I've recently gotten, people have shared with me that are new to me, and then some that are old, some that I've loved for a long time, and some of you are more new and maybe new to you, or you've forgotten about them and haven't been using them regularly. So I'm going to share them, a lot of them. What you have, I gave you the gift guide is in your handout. So you should be able to go to your control panel and see that there's a handout there. You can click on it and download it right there, or open it, put it on your device, and that's yours. You'll also get that in a follow-up email just in case for any reason you didn't get it. When you see the replay, you'll be able to download it again if something happens and maybe you're on your phone and that's not actually going to work for you to download it. You'll get it. So later on today or tomorrow, whenever that first replay comes out. So let's dive into it. This will be really short and sweet. So this is really much more fun than it is anything. My gift to you, at least I hope that's what it feels like. And I want to give you time to ask questions and get answers. So what doesn't need to be about the holidays, it can be. I may give you a spontaneous question that you didn't know you had, but if there's something else that's bugging you or that you've got a question about, feel free to ask that. You can put something in the chat box right now, right away, and that's your questions box. So I'm referring to it as the chat box, but if you found your questions box, that's it. That's where you'll ask your questions. You can put it in at any moment, and I will come back to it when we're done. So just buckle your seatbelts, grab your water, take a sip, and let's roll. So actually it looks like I can leave my camera on and I can put it behind. So if it gets dark in here, you'll know because light from one side of my face is coming from the window right now. All right. So first things first, this is not an absolute order related to your gift guide. It's pretty close, but this is me. We are just talking about all things holidays. So literally talking about what's going to be happening over Black Friday week, which is we've kind of spread out that whole day into more than a week by now. There will be some Flipping 50 specials, some special things happening for you and or for friends. And as we spill into the end of the year, which is just, this time, this like last 6 weeks or so, just always feels like it accelerates. And maybe this year, not so much. It's like, can we get this over with already? However, it's also, I think, something that I keep reminding myself of. This is a moment that we're not going to have again. And a lot of good things have happened to me this year. I mean, some that I, not so happy with, but I also don't want to be at the end of this pandemic or COVID and thinking what I wish I would have done, whether that's read more books, take another course to feed my own brain, whatever that might be. Maybe with you, it is related to health and wellness goals, something that you could be doing because there's maybe not a commute, you're not able to do some other things that are taking time takers normally. And really, that's what I would love for you to be thinking about. So I won't go too in depth to who I am. Most of you are here because you know who I am, I hope. And you've got also an intro, a little more lengthy love letter in your gift guide. So this is really all about 2020, what it's been like, what it's been about, and to our future health. And all of the gifts that I'm pointing at right now, whether for your giving or for our getting, everybody in the world is in the same situation we are. Not necessarily are they in that midlife moment in menopause, but we're all going through this same thing, and our health and our immunity are more important this year to us than ever. And the realization that you may have had to come to, that you were pretty reliant on outside sources to take care of you, that we go to a lot of places, we go out to eat, we go out for entertainment, maybe we go out, if you were using a gym or a rec center, a facility or a trainer, and you were going to meet them, that maybe you were a little bit more reliant on them than is a good idea, right? We need to take personal responsibility. So it's really something I want to emphasize to each and every single one of us, that we've really got to look at now is the moment. Because in the pandemic, the moment we were already in menopause, where we've got accelerated opportunities for muscle loss and accelerated opportunities for bone loss because of changes in our hormone levels, a decline in estrogen. And someone asked me the other day, that almost interrupted and said, well, if I'm on bioidentical hormones or hormone replacement, doesn't that fix that? It doesn't fix that. It makes you a little less prone, but we still have to do the work. So you can take that hormone halfway, but you've still got to meet it the rest of the way. It's like taking an antibiotic if you are sick. That's not immediately going to make you better. You need to be doing the rest and the proper amount of rest, recovery, de-stressing, eating right, help yourself get better. It's always going to be partly you. And the more you do, the less this has to do. You may need fewer or less hormones if you're doing your part. So super important that you've got that. And so many of the things are about either your health or the people surrounding you that you are gift giving to and their health. So it was really about taking a look at, I've shared this, 88% of us, those who were just slightly active before, it got 88% more active, which is such a good thing. Those who were really, really kind of active and maybe hyperactive got about 30% less active, which also may be a good thing. Now, not necessarily for their psychology, but could be that they were supporting their immune system a little bit better. So I want you to just be conscious of my reason for giving you a lot of these gifts, and a lot of the tips that I'm sharing today is still back to where we were, the end of March, the beginning of April, when we were all just a little bit like, what is happening here? And what do I do to boost my immune system? If you're not so hyper conscious anymore about the amount of vitamin C or zinc that you're taking, you may want to revisit that as we go into cold and flu season, and knowing that we've got now that and we've got this. So number one, the biggest tip for you during this holiday season, don't drop your weight training. Keep that weight training in there. For the bones and the muscles that I just talked about earlier, it's a must. So twice a week, if you need to, change it up, shorten it up. You can absolutely do that. And I gave you a little cheat sheet in your gift guide on how you could do that. So if you've got any questions about that, feel free to ask. I didn't actually put that per se in the slides, but basically I gave you some easy little routines of 3 exercises. You can do 3 exercises 3 times and be done. Or you could do those 3 times and be done. Go on, do the next 3 times and be done doing the whole thing. Or you could do all 6 of those in a circuit, start to end, once, twice, or 3 times. So I gave you a lot of little workouts in a short amount of space with not a lot of headache thinking about how complicated that has to be. Super easy to just stay on track. And something is better than nothing. Now, often I don't agree with that because we can derail you by just saying that over and over too often. But if you already are in a routine and you're working on keeping consistency, and for a week, because you're traveling or somebody is traveling to you and your space is not your space for a short period of time, being able to just say, okay, well, I can't do the full out workout, but I'm going to do these major muscle groups. I'm going to reach fatigue with them and call it a day and say, boom, I stayed consistent, kept my promise to myself. One of the most important things you can do. That will get you right back on track next week. You didn't miss a beat. Still keeping 72 hours in between, super important. And the other thing is measuring body composition. So as we go through these next 6 weeks or so, measure body composition if you're measuring weight. Do not drive yourself crazy and only measure weight. That is just a recipe for disaster, because incorrectly, you can feel like I'm losing weight, it's good, it's so good, but not if you're losing muscle. It's not good at all, because that, no pun intended, comes back to bite you in the butt. Seriously does. So we can't afford to lose lean muscle mass, because that is a loss of metabolism, and you won't see that by Saturday night. Saturday night, you'll still feel good. I fit into the dress. I lost a few pounds. I'm feeling more confident. But 6 weeks from now, already, you could be seeing the devastation and the damage that did. Okay, so poor man or poor woman's way of doing body composition, because some of us are choosing not to go to a gym and don't want to do that just to get body composition done. And I totally get it. Then do your weight and do your inches, but be careful not to do that too frequently. Once a week at most, once a month, maybe even better. You know who you are. Multiple times a day is what we call OCD, okay? All right. The formula is strength training plus protein timed correctly with your strength training. So strength training really kind of opens up the pathway for your muscles to be primed for muscle protein synthesis. And then that protein, if it comes in at about 60 to 90 minutes after, that's really the sweetest spot. That's doing the best good for you, maintaining that lean muscle tissue, helping to repair and rebuild the muscle and make it slightly stronger. So that was a piece of the information that came from the September 2020 masterclass, full of research sources. So with weight training, keep it simple. Actually, this is a part of the gift guide template that I gave you right here. Keep it short, keep it simple. You don't have to go full out, but just promise yourself you've set aside 10 minutes even to go through 3 exercises 3 times. 10 minutes is really about all it takes. If you think 1 minute per exercise, you do about 10 repetitions, you take 6 seconds per repetition, and I guarantee you most of us are going faster than that. If you'll slow it down, you get a lot done in a short amount of time. Slower is harder. No momentum, just muscle. Trust me, and that's a great tip if you are stuck with still maybe a little limitation with dumbbells. I got a lot of literature very recently, though, that dumbbells are pretty much back in stock, not just in stores, but in places where you can order them. Now, as far as shipping and handling goes, I would just rather walk over to my Target or Walmart and pick them up myself if I could. But, you know, wherever you can get them at this point certainly is better. Okay. Interval training, though, is a fast second when we're talking about getting an exercise over the holidays. And this is the one time of year when some of the research that came out in 2013 and 14, and it was just circulating all over the place like this is it and this is the magic thing. And the truth was, it really wasn't the magic thing unless you were a pretty overweight male in his 20s and 30s, because it was about basically sumo wrestlers who were fed a very, very high calorie diet, and it was 50% fat. Now, how is that like a midlife woman? It's not, right? Because we're generally watching what we eat. We're not on purpose trying to eat a huge caloric diet. Hopefully you're not counting calories, but you're making them count. And yet, most of us are pretty conscious of what we're putting in our mouths. But most of us are also not eating 50% fat. Even if you have nuts and seeds and you're not afraid of fat anymore like you were at one point, most of us still probably don't reach 50% of our diet as fat, but that was the recommendation. However, when might that happen? After a holiday party or a holiday meal, Thanksgiving. There are definitely a lot of carbohydrates, but there are a lot of fat that we put with those carbohydrates that we love traditionally. So this is like your morning after pill. This is your morning after workout. So there is some truth in this instance, only this one, not every day, because you're not doing this every day, that if you get up in the morning on your Black Friday or the day after, you might have a large holiday meal and do a quick interval training workout fasted, meaning before you have breakfast, before you have anything. So you could have black coffee or you could have plain tea, but you can't put anything with calories in it if you're truly going to be in a fasted state. So doing your interval training in a fasted state, 15 to 20 minutes, that's about it. If you go really hard, that should be all you want to do. And you'll burn more calories in the rest of the day, and most likely will burn those calories off faster. Your body already is trying to do that. That core temperature is usually elevated. Everybody's, opening up the windows, and it's not just because the ovens were on and it's hot, or all the people have a body temperature that's elevated because they've eaten all this extra food. And that's what your body does, is it starts like getting heat out to let calories out. So all of that is actually a good thing and is still working for you the next morning, and you can elevate that temperature even more. And if you want to go one more step in that coffee that you might have or matcha, have that so you can boost that post-interval burn by 29% more, right? So just a little handy tip to have in your back pocket, as long as you don't use it as this. It's not the license to overeat, okay? So it's not like, okay, go for it because I have this thing. That becomes a little more like binge and purge, okay? So the 1980s called and wants that one back, but just in case you could do this, and this would be the best thing. What you don't want to do is go and do something long and slow the next day, because that elevates your cortisol level. Cortisol says store fat. So all that stuff you just ate is not coming off. It's going to stay there. It's going to take up residence. So no long, slow. Go for a high intensity workout and or high intensity strength training if you don't have an option for interval training that works best. Okay. So third, over the course of your holidays, get in some yoga or some other mind body. For you, your yoga might be going for a walk outside, going for a hike, getting some air, crunching through leaves, or snowshoeing, or whatever that might be for you. But take some time to do this. The holidays, no matter what or how it hits you, can get us all. And I think we're already watching TV commercials right now. If I don't watch a lot of TV, but when they're on in the evening, I'm like, this is like watching a Hallmark TV movie. They're like tapping into heartstrings right now. Like, we're not going to see our families. And it's like, okay, don't show me that again, please. It's like looking at the dog shelter puppy pictures. but we're all just a little bit more maybe disappointed about the way the holidays will go or connecting, and it's going to be just a little one thing removed. It's definitely another to chalk up to 2020, but take some time and deep breaths. So even if you don't, maybe your knees say no, you're not getting down on the floor, you're not going to sit in this lotus pose, you're not going to be doing any of that. Sit in a chair and take deeper breaths. As you exhale, drop your shoulders away from your ears and fill your lungs deep in those lower lobes where we get finally the oxygen out to your extremities when you do that. Take a breath with me. And then exhale all the way out like you're blowing through a straw. Keep blowing out. Keep blowing out. And if you get that all the way out, what you felt is your core muscles actually, your diaphragm shrunk a little bit, but your core muscles actually start wrapping around to squeeze that air out. And you also felt this came down. And most of us store our tension in our neck and our upper back. For men, it's lower back. Those little things, even doing it repeatedly with the breath, not even a 30-minute yoga session, doing it little bits, little snacks of decreasing cortisol throughout the day can help you a lot get through the holidays feeling much less tense, much more relaxed. So find time to do that. And it doesn't necessarily need to be in yoga tights to feel like it's got the yoga effect. But those are strength training, interval training, some kind of mind-body exercise. Okay, my suggestion, and in your food guide, I've literally shared the green beans, the garlicky green beans, the broccoli and bacon salad, mashed cauliflower, Brussels sprout dish, and a gluten and dairy-free pumpkin pie. That's all in your gift guide, literally the recipe and how to do it. And what I suggest for all of us is, because it is going to be so very different, keep some traditions, start some, and some of you may just be choosing different traditions, not because it's different. Maybe everybody is gathered and you can get them all in and be under 10 in your household, but it may be that you're just choosing to opt for a little bit more health for yourself to feel good through the holidays. I want to bust one myth though about the average person gaining 10 to 15 pounds over the holidays. This year, I've been doing a lot of research about that just to dive into it. And since we're already in the pandemic, a lot of people have gained 10 or 15 pounds during the pandemic, related to stress, some related to less activity, some related to being too close, too much proximity to the wrong kinds of foods and taking advantage of that, or not so much. Maybe that's not the way to say it. But we only actually gain about 1/2 to 1 pound on average over the holidays. So the weight gain that has always been media amplified, really not any truth or science behind that. But this year it could be more dangerous than ever because, again, it's just kind of coming on the end of like a whole 9 months of tailgating and picnicking and barbecues and partying, essentially, right at home in your own kitchen and backyard. So there are also, in the coming weeks and month to the end of the year, I will share cookies and bar recipes that can be made with healthier options, made with protein, so that it's not so high in sugar. Keep in mind that dried fruit is loaded in sugar. I mean, you might as well be spooning sugar in. There are some nutrients in it, but not enough to offset the sugar that is happening. So really think about, what are you bringing into your house? What's going to happen? And think about flavors that can actually help support your appetite, feeling like, okay, I'm done. That satiety signal. Chocolate, a little bit of really good chocolate, so 77% or higher cacao, and combine that with, what's your choice? What makes it good for you? Some nut butter, mint, citrus, and those combinations will be coming at you from Flipping 50 over the next few weeks and months. So you can also find them at flipping50.com/recipes. So here we go. Time for retail therapy. All right. So we're going to go into my 5 first top choice stocking stuffers. Then I'll give you some that didn't quite make the top 5 list that are still things that I've given in recent years to a 24 and then 23-year-old and his girlfriend, and things that were bigger hits for other people as well. So first of all, this one's no new news, and I've mentioned it already about how you personally could use it. But the thing I want to call out, and the reason why I think this is such a gift to many of you, is that Peak Teas is actually one of the only matcha tea sources that it's quadruple tested for heavy metals and toxins, mold, pesticides, and all of those things are actually very easily found the way this tea is grown and they're harvested. So if it's done wrong, it can really go wrong. And what I'll point out to you is that when I first released a video, and I think it was 3 years ago, it might have been in 2016, I first released this video after seeing the research on the bump, the 29% increase in fat burning after intervals if you had taken matcha within about 30 minutes before a workout. I posted that video, and when I was beginning to shop and use matcha myself, I did not know about Peak Teas. I did not know about the problem with other matchas, but there wasn't much on the shelf. Like going to a grocery store, sometimes they didn't even have it. Other times they had one and it was culinary matcha, and that's like the only thing that they had as an option, not ceremonial grade. And now if you go into almost any grocery store, and I on purpose will look at several. So, Whole Foods and Safeway and Fairway and Sprouts and Alfalfa's, just to name a few, all of them now have probably at least half a dozen options in them. So some of the larger chains, a little bit more generic, probably don't have as many, but almost every store does. They are trying to market it, trying to sell it to us because they know we're looking for it, but they also know that a lot of us don't know quality from not. So if you're price comparing and you're looking at the price per ounce, and it only takes so much less than that, like an ounce is a lot of servings. Half a teaspoon of high quality stuff is a serving. But if you're only looking at it from the dollar amount, Peak Tea is not very sexy because it's probably one of the most expensive, because quadruple testing takes time and money. So it's really important that you look at, the cheaper it is, the higher the chance that it's got heavy metals and pesticides, mold, or toxins in it. And if you're doing this regularly on a daily basis, that's, the absolute highest standard should be given to those things. Anything that you put on your skin every day, soap that you use every day, the toothpaste you brush your teeth with every day, the matcha you have 2 big mugs of every day, it's got to be good stuff. Otherwise, you're essentially contaminating yourself. And so if your gut isn't feeling good and you say, well, I'm eating all the right things and I'm doing all of this, you really have to look down deep and say, am I eating the highest quality of those things, or am I just kind of checking the box? And there's a big difference. So this is my favorite. The link to all of it is in the gift guide. So there are no links in here actually, but you'll also find it on flipping50.com/resources, many of the things that I'm sharing with you. But just want to drive home why this is so important. Lots of ways that you can give this. So you can actually get a little canister, like for me, that's what sits on my shelf, but these individual little packets are also nice for traveling. Like I'll throw a couple of those into my travel bag instead of my whole big can, or great stocking stuffers. So whether it's for you or it's for somebody else. And This is my favorite skincare. So this is Anne Marie's skincare. They have been literally a goddess. Yeah, literally a goddess because of the skincare. She is gorgeous. But the company actually sponsored episodes of Flipping 50 TV and gave all of the 39, almost, I think 1 or 2 episodes was just something that I was doing. So about 38 episodes, 38 people got 3 full-sized um, containers of some of her best-selling cleanser facial oils. When I first started using oil on my skin, I lived in Colorado. So first of all, my transplanted from Iowa skin was like, what is going on here? And I was breaking out in my, at 50, I was breaking out and have had wrinkles, and I was like, what is that all about? That is so unfair. And my skin was just so angry. It was dry, and everything I was doing um, wasn't quite right because everything I was doing contained water in it. So you live and learn. So anything that you're using, any product that you're using in your bathroom that you're putting on your skin, if agua is the first ingredient or first 1, 2, or 3 ingredient, it's drying your skin out, and you're using more of it than probably because you think you need more to hydrate, but you're just drying it out more. So when I started to understand the whole concept behind putting oil on your skin, because it is oil, it was so much more beneficial. This is so soothing, and I will tell you right now, I am a mask whore. Seriously. All right, so she's got charcoal cacao mask. That is here. Illuminating pearl mask. That is also here. The other one I love is the honey mask. And Truman loves that one, actually. If I put that on my face and I sit in the bathtub, he will come up and try to lick it off. And it is edible. That's how safe all their products are. But what you'll get here is the micro exfoliant is just like small texturized soap. So I use that once or twice a week right now. So drier, now it's not quite so hot and sunny, and I'm not in the sun so much anymore, going out and swimming or in chlorine. But I'll use that a couple times a week, and then I'll use the masks and kind of rotate. So I might do a charcoal one once a week. The Pearl Illuminating Mask is like, this is what you want to do right before your holiday party. So the way samples of Anne Marie goes is like, these particular samples are not based on whether your skin is dry or combination or oily, but her other samples are other products are really kind of tending to serve, what's going on with your skin. These are amazing for anybody. If you have really dry skin, you may not want to do charcoal cacao frequently, and you don't want to overdo the micro exfoliant, but you're going to love them all. So this is great. I'm giving this, last year I gave her some samples, but my son's girlfriend gets this, my sister-in-laws get this. I love these. Swipe them up for just travel. So, in a hotel room, I'll still, use these, but then you don't have to take your full-size pieces. So you get the whole thing, $19.99. It's risk-free. So literally, if you don't like it, you get your money back. And inside of the samples, generally what they'll do is give you a coupon, and you can essentially apply that. So it's almost free at all. And just a spoiler alert, you're gonna love it. So, okay. And by the way, just one more thing on that. There are a couple other lines of products that I'll use here and there, but Anne Marie is the one I always come back to. Like, it's the staple that's always in there. And then occasionally for, something happening or just needing a change to kind of wake up my skin again, and maybe in a seasonal change, I'll use something else, but she's always in my drawer. So this one is, you may want to give it, you may want to keep it. This is like a his and hers gift, literally. But there are a lot of reasons why you might do this. And this is literally super, super small trial size. So you literally can get the free trial size just with shipping. So I think it's like $4.95 to get that. The little larger size, actually, I gave that to my sister-in-law, and I said, I don't want to know how it works. That's too much information, please. But, you know, she was not enjoying it. She was like, sex is overrated. And I'm like, I think you're doing something wrong. I don't want to know what, but here you go. So there's two reasons why I have clients that have used this and enjoyed it successfully. And one is urinary leakage. So bladder control, even with women who've actually had a sling surgery, trying this, they were still having problems. Trying this actually helped that. So hormonally, it will actually help with leakage, as well as if you're having a difficulty in sex, painful intercourse, just due to dryness, not lubricated, it will improve that. And there's a little stimulating factor to it. So it actually enhances the whole experience for you and for him. So something that you might want to consider. And the statistics are up to 86 women. I am rolling my eyes back because I just did this for fitness professionals yesterday. But the number of women in menopause and midlife and beyond who struggle with intimacy because either it's painful and or they're dry and that is also uncomfortable, or there's just a lack of desire, is about up to 86%, somewhere between 63 and 86. It's extremely high. And this is still a big piece of our wellness, dimensions of wellness for as long as we live. So think about, you know, whether that's something that you might want to look at, or if you have great conversations with your friends, you probably know somebody who suffers from one or the other of those, either from incontinence or from just low libido and just not talking about sex in the same way that they used to. This one I started talking about back in April, definitely May. I went on Feminescence when about the same time I went on bioidentical hormones, for the reason of they work in synergy really well together. You don't have to be on bioidenticals or hormone replacement of any kind to do. You can do Maca Pause. There's one called Maca Life for those of you who are not in menopause yet. And this is basically maca, right? So it's a more medical dose of maca, meaning that it's higher quality than you're going to get from the shelf at your grocery store that you might be adding to your smoothie. So I wouldn't do both. I would do one or the other. And that goes for Dr. Anna Cabeca's Mighty Maca. If you're already doing that, you're getting great results, stick with it. But otherwise, this is one that you might want to look at. And here's why. And they have a whole suite of products which you might want to consider. Maca or Maca Life, I was looking at it and I finally went toward it because I was getting up in the morning, but I wasn't my usual morning person. I was like, okay, this is like a really slow start and I'm not a night owl. So that means I'm not good at night. I'm not good in the morning. Like maybe afternoon, I'm good. I don't know. So I knew something wasn't right and I wasn't going to be resetting that by myself alone. So I did this. It's a natural herb. So what you're doing is not taking a hormone, but you're taking an herb that helps boost your hormones so that even if you are doing HRT or if you're not yet on them and you have some still natural hormones circulating, yours will work better. And or if you're going on HRT or bioidenticals, you don't have to take as much potentially. So I like the idea of that both ways. I just so happened I didn't know about it until I was already at that point where I needed it. And they do have a buy two, get one free for your first time. I would recommend it. But you know, you can also stick your toe in the water and just do one. Another product, actually two others I'll tell you about, or three, but one is called Herbatonin. That I just started taking. And I'll tell you a funny thing about that. They know that I don't share anything with you that I don't use and like and trust myself. So when they offered, asked if I'd heard about Herbatonin, I said no, and they explained what it was. And they said it's to help with sleep. It's a natural melatonin boost. So your melatonin is your sleep regulating hormone. We produce less of that as we age. And in part, it's a contributing part. There's a lot of things going on. For, melatonin is down, that doesn't help you get to sleep. So I said, I don't really need that. I sleep really good. And like, well, we're going to send you some because they really wanted me to share it with you. So here's what I did in order to, honor them. I took it 3 nights in a row and I thought, okay, I'm going to try it because I'd have to. I like that they honored that. I slept really well, like better than I normally do. And normally I sleep really well, but I woke up more rested, figuring I then slept deeper. Don't know what the difference was, but I like it. So I'm still taking it every night. I'm almost 2/3 of the way through the first box that I got. Loving that. Just deeper sleep. I'm actually having more dreams and remembering them. So there's that. If you like the idea, like I do, again, it's taking a supplement that helps boost the hormone that's in you naturally, as opposed to taking a hormone. I like that idea. And pH quiescence. So for those of you who are a little in tune with, I think it was in August, I did a masterclass on what does pH have to do with your weight? Well, quite a bit, actually. So if your body is in a more acidic state, it's not neutral. That pH level isn't neutral. You're going to have a hard time losing weight, or harder time, and disease really has a heyday. So cancer thrives in an acidic environment. And there are certain things we can't eliminate totally. If you're eating protein, you're eating animal protein, that's acidic. Dairy is also very acidic. Now, I don't recommend that you have dairy, but I know some of you are. So some of the things that we have regularly are acidic, and we can't eliminate them completely. So we do have to offset it. But if you're having a high protein diet and you look back at your vegetable intake, and to some extent fruits, but we don't want to bump our sugar intake, even the natural sugars, we can be in midlife very much more sensitive to those. So if you overdo fruit in midlife, even though you've always loved it, it's probably not working out as well for you anymore. But if you can take that high acidic food and make sure that you're getting lots of green leafy vegetables, and specifically there's a list of vegetables that are highly alkaline to offset that acidity, then you're going to bring your body back into a more natural balance, a pH of about 7 or 8, which is where we all want to live and be. pH quiescence supports that. So it's another product that will help you do that. Alfalfa is in it. Some of you may want to check first before you do it, because alfalfa, you could have an allergy to that or food sensitivity to it. You can get 15% off of that if you use Flip 15. I also was using that for a period of time. So early in the spring, when we just gotten hit with the pandemic, I was still looking to take off 10 pounds that I put on in 2019 when I was under tons of stress. And I was wanting to do everything possible. So I was both using maca from Mighty Maca from Dr. Annika Becca, and I was using Quiescence, both, boosting my alkalinity. And it helped me drop 5 pounds and 5% body fat within about a month, just walking. The last thing that's not on here in their suite of products is crystals. So salt crystals, as well as just Himalayan sea salt, that I use both of them, so in recipes. But the salt I talked about this summer as something that I do every morning, a teaspoon of Sol. And Sol is basically in a glass, you put the big salt crystals and then you cover it with pure filtered water and you cover it with something, not an aluminum or tin kind of thing, but like a cork lid. And then 24 hours later, that water is actually saturated, and Himalayan salt crystals are saturated not just with salt and sodium. And I know sometimes everybody worries about, well, I don't want more sodium. In some ways you actually do, and we need it because it's got lots of minerals that our bodies need to absorb. And if you've got that water saturated with all the minerals from the salt, put a teaspoon of that in a glass of water that you drink first thing in the morning. That's going to help your hydration level and help your absorption of minerals and vitamins the rest of the day. It also helps with alkalinity. It's just been a habit I've done all year now since I started that back in April. So super simple. I mean, it doesn't taste bad or good. It's just something needs to sit there right there. For me, it has to be right beside that glass of water I leave sitting on the counter and the coffee maker, because that's the next stop for me. So that whole suite is available for you to check out. All right, this one, this is a do not wait till Christmas. Open it right now. Do not be disciplined, but this is when you want to start playing in like Thanksgiving week or right now, whenever you're allowed to put up your Christmas decorations at your house. So if you're familiar with the theory of vibrations, you know, we are all made up of vibrations. So this water, this glass has a vibration to it. Green leafy vegetables and fruits have a higher vibration. Processed foods, none. Emotions like joy, love are way up here. Hate, jealousy, way down here. Everything in life in this world has a vibration, and music has a certain vibration. So if you remember just vaguely, even if you don't remember details, you know, about when rock and roll came out, it was evil, right? Like if you play it backwards, it's the devil, and all of those rumors. Well, it comes out that back in biblical times, this is related to it, but there is a certain vibrational energy in certain music and chords. And when you weave certain chords and vibrations into music, it has a healing property. And the Whole Tones company, Michael Terrell, I interviewed him probably 5 or 6 years ago. I had stumbled across his music, and now he's actually probably been on all of my friends and colleagues' podcasts in that time since. And he just came out with a Christmas volume, and it's number one, if you just like it for the Christmas music alone. So no lyrics, it's just lovely music. You could put it on in the background and work to it. Certain songs that he does on his other volumes actually help, if they're on and you're working, improve your focus or improve your creativity. But what you'll find when you play this music is that it's just feels different and uplifting. It's high vibes. I'm going to be doing some live yoga during the holidays, and I have permission to play his music in the background. So I'll give you a little snip of it, but I think it's something like right around 20 bucks for the CD. There's only about 8 songs on it, but they're the kind of songs that you won't mind them being in a loop. You won't tire of them. So I've gotten it for my mom, got it for myself, my sisters. Love, love, love this one. And I love actually the regular ones too. I play them often while I'm either doing yoga, or I'll put that music on in the background while I'm working, because I can't listen to something with lyrics. So the things that did not make the A list for stocking stuffers are blue light blocking glasses. I've gotten a couple pairs for my son. Darn Tough, if you've never heard of that brand of socks and you like to run or hike or walk a lot, you're exercising a lot, the best socks in the world. And I think they have a lifetime guarantee. Can't beat that. I don't know what happens if your Old English sheepdog eats them, but otherwise, lifetime guarantee. Primal Organics is a company from my friend. She's got natural facelift. So that's with the quiver that goes on your face. That's at flipping50.com/resources. She's also got a natural teeth whitener. So if anybody wants whiter teeth, who doesn't? One of the risks is while we're getting them whiter, we're also doing some damage to the enamel, and some of the things that are used to actually whiten are toxic. So she has natural remedies for all of those things. For your coffee lovers, Four Sigmatic and Bulletproof, or if you're doing baskets, you know, a little immersion blender, coconut milk or coconut milk powder, a little stevia, cinnamon, MCT oil, so perfect blend for those who are trying to stay a little bit more keto, not necessarily fasting, but still in keto. And for bed and bath, Epsom salts, lavender, and eye mask. So a nice little basket. You could put your Anne Marie skincare masks in there too. One of my favorite things is to take a bath in Epsom salt, put a few drops of lavender in it, do my face mask after doing the exfoliating. So good. All right, so those are all things I love. You can find lots of them in my Amazon shop or flipping50.com/resources. That's all my favorite things. So here's my fitness wish list. So these are actually things that I recommended earlier in the year, and I think it was about May, maybe, when I did a big post. So if some of these are still outstanding on your list, these are still on the top of my list if you are looking either to give or to get. But a pull-up station, a weighted vest, and a rebounder kind of make these top three. The weighted vest, that the brand, that is exactly the one I have. Mine is a 20-pound vest. Now, you want to go at about 10 and no more than that, 10% of your body weight. And this is just slightly on the heavier side for me, but I'm used to lifting really heavy. And so you can go down to 8-10 pounds. These are not the kind of, there's nothing you can take in and out to make it heavier and lighter. So, excuse me, I'm going to have a drink of water in a second. But there are other vests that you can put in and take out, but they don't have this kind of a design. So one of the things I like about this is you can see how that fans out to the side. This sits out here as opposed to on females. When you've got something right here, what happens is these trigger points, what we call the upper traps, it makes those shoulders hike up to your ears. That's going to be your response. When somebody pushes on you, you push back. So if that's weighing you down there, you're going to go like this. So this rounded curve that you see actually distributes the weight for you a little bit better. The kind of thing you can do or wear when you're doing squats and lunges to weight bear a little bit more than you might be able to at home. So you can still hold on to those weights or kettlebell with the vest on and get a little bit better workout to your bones and your muscles. You could wear it while you went for a walk. Now, I wouldn't wear the heaviest one while you went for a walk for very far, but you could, and you could wear it while you're cleaning the house. So good way to weight this fine. Pull-up station. So this pull-up station is about $150. So if you're at home and you're looking for how can I gain upper body strength, how can I do a core workout, this is one of my favorite things, and one of the reasons why when I belong to a gym, one of the things I use religiously when I'm at the gym, I love to do knee raises, straight leg lifts, pull-ups, and if you're not able to do a pull-up, you can always do eccentric contractions. That's how we train them. So you start on the way up with a chair, lower yourself down slowly, and more slowly over time. If you can slow that down, eventually you will be able to pull yourself back up. Or you can order something called super bands. You can put your foot in one, so you're essentially spotting yourself up and down. And you can do dips as well. A little bit more challenging, but if you've got somebody younger in your house who's doing dips still, the reason I say challenging is the stress to your shoulders and elbows can be a little dramatic. If you're not used to doing a dip, that's going to take some challenge. The rebounder, This is the brand that I have and love is Jump Sport. And, you know, if you're looking for another at-home, something that's fun, not necessarily something that's a large piece of equipment like a treadmill or elliptical with a real heavy investment, this can be a great way to, you know, do all your Zoom videos. You can turn off your video and just be on your Zoom and exercise and move somehow while you're on it. A lot of women, I'm finding, really enjoy combination of music and doing something like this that feels a little bit more fun. So you can do it in shoes if you've got plantar fasciitis. Otherwise, you can do it barefoot, and it doesn't take up much space, so you can tuck it away. So health beyond the holidays, that's where I want to go right now. So this I made a video of not too long ago on YouTube. I just want to bring it to your attention again. This is really the upper echelon of at-home smart scale. So this is the InBody. This is the recommendation that I make to fitness centers or have in the past. That I consult for in personal training departments to bring in so that they have an accurate way of testing and assessing body composition for all members in all personal training clients. Because when they can show they've gotten results over time, obviously it's better for them, but it's also a great sales tool for you. Now you can get it in home if you're not wanting to go out, not looking around for it, or can't find it locally. So it's a little bit more expensive, more of an investment than some of those I've shared with you that can be about $25. There's one I've shared that's close to about 70, between 60 and 70. And this one is, I think, $249. And I could be wrong, it might be $349. But the difference is it's actually going to store your data. You're going to get your weight, your body fat, your muscle weight, and your BMI. Now, BMI, I don't really care about, okay? That's not going to tell you enough, and that's really barely going to change for you because your height's not going to change unless your weight changes dramatically. That's not going to change, but we do want to know your muscle weight. And so it does it for you very easily. Your receptors are in your feet, so your heels, your toes go here, and then you pick up the handle. You can see that it's almost like a phone sitting there. So you'll actually stand with your arms out in front of you, holding onto the handles. Your thumbs are on those receptors there. So that electrical current, that bioelectrical current is actually going from the top to the bottom of your body. So you're going to get a better, more accurate reading. And I've loved mine. I've had it for about a month, and it's pretty accurate compared to the $10,000 one at the club. So the readings are pretty similar. This, I am going to have a drink. So if you haven't, please do. This is something new. So the ultrasonic humidifier, the thing that I love about this, if you see down in front, it's kind of black on blue, so it's a little harder to see. But you can actually put essential oil in that little drop. So in an ordinary humidifier, you can't actually put essential oils in it or you'll ruin it, right? But here, you know, and it's not like just a baby diffuser. It's actually a 6-liter. You put this in there, and whether it's you want to do something for decongestant like eucalyptus or you want to do lavender in here, you've actually got something that can be very useful in a big room and doesn't necessarily have to be right next to you or be in a tent to be effective. So here for sure, dry air all year round, but definitely even more so now while it's getting cooler at night and I'm inside a whole lot more. This is so beneficial, and I put it right next to my bed. So not so it's blowing on me, but actually so it's right there, and doors closed so that it's not, I'm not trying to do the whole house with this small little unit. But if you're, you know, looking at your skin, or you wake up in the morning and you've got that really, you know, dry nose, you got to blow your nose and you feel all stuffy, try this. Great investment. And, you know, I love the piece that you've got to put essential oils in it, and you can change that out without ruining it. Castor oil packs. So back in August and beginning of September, I think I had my friend Dr. Maricel, Queen of Thrones, come on again about the castor oil packs, especially while we're all at home, potentially with the opportunity to sleep just a little bit more, and if not better. Castor oil packs are amazing. So it's the property of the castor oil that has the ability to penetrate below your skin to get to sub layers of skin into your internal organs. So it can really help with natural detox, help with constipation, help with your skin quality and tone, help with your parasympathetic nervous system, and your skin. Basically, you can actually put it on your eyes or that orbit area on your eyebrows, and it'll support growth there as well. So if you're wanting to do just a little bit more in-depth probe into that and the benefit of castor oil packs, go to Flipping 50 and just do a search on this one. So amazing stuff. And I will do like 30-day sprints. Wear it for 30 days. And then most of the time I'll wear it for like 3 or 4 days, nights in a row, and then take a break and do it again. Okay, so here's the big sauna event. So there's 2 saunas I'm going to show you here. So this is, I swear this is Jennifer Aniston. If it's not, certainly looks like her. But here are the benefits. Relaxation, better muscle recovery if you suffer from aches and pains, detox. So little did I know when I bought mine for more relaxation and just longevity, really not anti-aging. I don't necessarily go for that, but I go for pro-aging. I bought it for all of those reasons, for the health benefits, just to kind of go over and above. Little did I know that 6 months later, I would have mold in my house, and it came in really handy while I was still under, mold was downstairs. I had the sauna going upstairs, and I was using that, on most days, and continued to do that when I moved. So that's one view of it. I have something that is called, and that's in your gift guide, called a solo, where it actually looks like an MRI chamber. Literally is the best way to describe it if you've ever had one, or a small tent for one. And that's what I got, because at the time I got mine, I was renting and I did not want to wait. I was kind of in between looking at houses and staying here. And I was like, okay, I don't want to build in a unit to my house, have to change the electrical to something I'm renting. And thank goodness I didn't, or I would have been really in trouble with the kind of water coming in. Probably would have ruined it. Not a good thing. But as it was, I was able to pick up the solo and move it really easily. Mine right now lays in my guest bedroom, and I can fold it up, put it away if I want to put somebody in there on a inflatable mattress. And just for eyesores, I can move it out, or a carpet cleaner's coming on Saturday, I can move it for him. So all right, Flipping 50 holiday specials. This is what's coming up for us. So every year I offer this to certain people, and usually it's something that I reserve for when I'm speaking to women's groups, women's associations. I will offer a big package with private coaching that is either 3 or 6 months long. We'll do a year-long membership to the Flipping 50 Cafe. We'll do some special retreat attendance. This is a live retreat. Clearly, we're probably not looking at being able to do that in January of 2021. And I'm just realizing there are odd characters in so something is going on with my computer, but odd characters going on either with the programming or not. But the 6 months of VIP coaching or of private coaching that comes with this package, 3 of those are VIPs. And that means every week we do the whole shebang, you've got a day to day. This is your workout today. This is the exercise. This is the reps, the sets. This is what's happening. That can be in a list format, or we can work on videos for you for that. And we talk about nutrition, we talk about the lifestyle, things that are getting in your way or making it easier, and your homework on a week-to-week basis. For the next 3 months, it's more of an accountability program. And so we still talk as frequently, but you're checking in on the homework that we're going to continue to do, and we're going to push you. So the next week is not necessarily the same as this past week was. You do have a 1-year complimentary membership to the cafe and the Flipping 50 journal, which I'll talk about in a little bit. So that's the first that you may have heard about, that actually coming to fruition. I have the email sitting yet to open. I saw it late this afternoon. We're still finalizing details and negotiating, so I can't reveal the full details yet because we're not sure the timeline will still work before the end of the year, but that will come no matter when it comes. There's 15% off of protein from the very beginning if you do the best year, not having to wait those 3 months at 10% if you're doing subscribe and save, but right away. And really the goals vary quite a bit. With people who've done this, it's been women who wanted to do triathlon training. They wanted to get into it, or they'd done it way back when and wanted to get back into it and, becoming their absolute best. Some women do want to focus on weight loss. Some are more needing a lifestyle change and keep falling back on maybe poor habits and sabotaging themselves and need a coach to kind of work through, why am I doing this? So I went through coaching as a life coach. I don't love that title because that is a little too like God for me. So I don't use that terminology. But when we're working about physical health and fitness, all the stuff comes up. It's like working on your business. Your personal life takes a growth leap for sure, because a lot of other things come up as well. So this is really like literally taking into account, how can we optimize your life? What do you want? What kind of transformation? What kind of great big hairy goals do you have that you want to set? If you're a calorie counter and a point counter and a step counter, I'm probably not your coach, because that's not my method and I don't buy into it. And most of the people that have been extremely successful that I've seen over 36 years actually don't do that either. So it may be a method that works for you. It's not one for me, but if you're interested, you've got the details on that coaching in your gift guide as well. I've got only a limited number of spots for that, however. In January, we are going to do another virtual retreat. You can do this one and register for it right now through that Cyber Monday, whatever that is. I think December 1st, I think it's all over. But there is a very early bird rate of $49. This time it's going to be a multi-day event. And here's how it's going to go down. So starting Wednesday night, January 6th, it's kind of a happy hour meeting and kicking it off. So laying out what's going to happen, you'll have all your materials right in front of you. So I will send you a nice little packet that you can print out. And what I'm going to give you is homework for your next 2 days that I want you to work through so that you can get the most out of this being a real 2021 planning event for you, as well as an exercise strong start. So on Wednesday night, that's what that's all about, kind of laying the foundation, talking to you about what I want you to write down and start planning and plotting Thursday and Friday. So knowing most people are probably going to be at work Thursday and Friday, this is not a huge time thing, but about an hour both days, a little early morning journal writing, figuring out what you want to do, and it'll be fun work. I promise you that. And then on Saturday, we'll go from 7 to 11, or as long as questions keep coming in. We will do a strength training workout. We'll do an interval training workout after that. We'll do a little coaching on how to set goals, how to actually set them so you're much more successful in the coming year, and talk about, what is your goal? What are you really thinking about? And I'm going to try to up the ante a little bit for you, potentially, to raise your expectations about what you might do and what you want to train for. Even if we're going to spend part of the year at home and still, not quite back to normal, it's time to start training as if you are going somewhere. If you were, what would it be? What would you do? We can't wait. And then we'll finish with a nice long yoga session. So, and usually what I like to do when we do a retreat, whether it's live or it's virtual, is do something out of the ordinary. So many of you here are already in the cafe. So I don't want you to just get another workout that you could have gotten in the cafe, but we'll do something that's just a little bit more functional, has a little bit more challenge to it, little change in the way that we're going to ask you to move and what you're learning while you're doing it. And then Sunday, there'll be a coaching hours, quote unquote, from 11 to 1 for me, depending on where you are in the world. And that is to set your plan. So actually complete your first 90 days of 2021 and what that's going to look like in terms of what's your calendar already, like are your workouts already set on your real-time calendar, and how are they related to that big hairy goal that we set? So I'll be there to kind of coach anybody through it who's got questions, so that you feel like this is done, like I can send it to you and be held accountable. That's the goal. So details about how to register for that are in your gift guide. The Flipping 50 Cafe membership will open for enrollment. We'll do an early bird over Black Friday week. Is that such a thing? I think we've made it a thing. So it'll open the Friday before Thanksgiving week and close after Cyber Monday at the end of that day. So if you've got friends, if you're on the waiting list, you can go to flipping50.com /the cafe to get on the waiting list right now, so you learn what are we doing special. So there will be something special as we're open for the holiday registration. So you'll be in and get started during the month of December, and then start your first big 12-week stronger program with us in January. The fast flip is the last little piece of coaching. The fast flip is something for prior coaching clients. So you've been through a program really recently, like the After 50 Fitness Formula for Women, or maybe you did Stronger, you're doing it now, or you're doing the food flip. Your candidate for doing fast flip. If you've never worked with me before, you're not eligible for using the fast flip. So it's got to be someone who's already been in a program, you're in a program currently, and you want to extend that. Fast flip is like a small slice of coaching. It is just the accountability piece. So you and I are jumping on a phone call for about 15 minutes every week for 12 weeks. So 3 months of accountability you still got, and you're going to talk to me every week. What we're going to do is coast on the information, the foundation you built in that program, and continue to touch base on, did you do it? And if you didn't, not a guilt trip, but what's going on? Is it still important to you? Do we need to change that goal slightly so we can be more successful? And when the wheels fall off the bus, how do you need support? So you've got access to me while you're doing that with text and, a quick voicemail if you need it in between sessions. But the value of that accountability is priceless. So there you have it. But just a reminder, you're only eligible if you've recently completed a program or completed coaching. Okay. So this is it. I'm just going to tease it. All I can do is talk about it. Literally, I am negotiating right now. So looking at how many will we print? What will that look like? How many pages, the covers, all of those little details. There's a lot of little things. So it's coming soon, but here's the little synopsis basically. So in my vision, this is something that I can encourage you to literally put pen or pencil to paper to spark some creativity, because there's a lot of things that happen when this lights up and you put a pen to paper that doesn't when your fingers hit a keyboard or when you're putting something into an app. And I know lots of you love apps, and sometimes apps work great, but my goal is that you've got a place where tentatively this will be 90 days. So each of them will be 90 days. So by the time you've carried that around with you, If the cover gets a little beat up, it's okay because you're done with that, and potentially you'll have another. But you'll be able to focus on a 90-day goal, and it's easier to see the end when you're looking just that far down. And you'll be tracking all the things that are important and methodology or formula in flipping 50. So your sleep, your digestion, your hydration, you know, how did you sleep? What time did you go to bed? What time did you wake up? How many hours is that? How rested are you feeling? What else is going on? What are you having to eat, breakfast, lunch, and dinner? And what was the timing on that? How are you feeling? How's the gut? How's the elimination? And being able to eventually connect the dots. So we'll have pages where you'll actually be able to go in and say, my average sleep this month was this, or my average sleep these weeks were this, and here's how that looks plotted on that chart. And we'll also be able to tie in, what was your weight? What was your body composition? What happened there, or what happened with your inches if you're not able to do body composition? So lots of views and ways to look at the day, the week, the month, and the quarter. And ultimately, you'll be able to, if you continue to do it, look at the year and see, you know, more so in pictures. So if you think that way, as I do, it will work really well. So my wish for you is warm, healthy, happy holidays. I'm going to answer questions for a few more minutes. I won't keep anybody who's got to jump off, and I totally acknowledge that you might need to do that, but I'm going to jump over and see if anybody's got questions. Clarice, I've got lots of questions actually, so I'm going to dive right into them and speed date with you. Deborah, do you log food and exercise every day? And if so, how long a time? And I'm not sure if you're asking for how long I log, or if I log for a certain time. So I don't log what I eat every day, but what I will do is have clients log 3 days at a time, and I'll have them do that periodically when I'm working with them. So as I start working with somebody, I want 3 days. I want to know what time, what was it, and how hungry were you when you did it? What was the reason you did it? And we're looking at energy and how it affects sleep when we do that. And then as we're working, sometimes in the middle of working together, I'll have them do that again, because we'll have made certain changes, but we need to go back and I need to take a look at whether that worked. And that's, if I were recommending to you what to do, I would recommend that to you as well. I don't track my food intake on paper or anywhere. So it's just up here because I know how I eat. I know how to eat. It's just like brushing my teeth. I don't write that down or check that off either. So when you've gotten to a point where you're not consciously thinking of making changes, you may not need to do that anymore. When you feel like you're in a point where you need to regroup, then there may be a reason to go through it and do it. So I hope that answers your question. How many years? I'm not sure how many years do I log? I don't understand the question. So I don't log. Try that again. Nancy, is a rebounder good if one has osteoporosis? Yes, it actually can be, and it's good for building bone density if you can push down hard on the ground. I would want you to think really well about what's your current strength level and your feeling of coordination and balance, because you need some when you're on that, not because I'm worried about you falling, but if you're at all timid and you're not powering down. So a rebounding is not jumping, a rebounding is pushing down, and that's what gives you the benefit of bone density. So if you're not doing that, I would say then walking and having that heel strike is going to be better for bone density. I hope that made sense. Lisa said, gift guide isn't downloading due to server timing out. Can I have it emailed to me? You're here, Lisa, and it will be emailed to you right away with the replay. Susan says, have you recorded a rebounder workout? There are a couple short ones on YouTube. I have 2 in storage, but I only jumped on it. Can you jump on 2 at once? Actually, I've seen some games on that. And that got old, had only jumped on it. So yes, there are some kind of great routines. I did some early on back in, that's when I first got it, maybe March and April, but they're in YouTube. They're not in the cafe because they're not really well produced, Susan. Hope that helps. Flipping 50 Journal, what a great resource. I'll buy the first one. Awesome. Good. I'm glad you're excited about that. So sometimes, you know, when you think you have a great idea, it's only you. Lima, Ohio is listening. Hello, hello. And Carrie, I think you asked a question. I'm seeing the follow-up. What's the best MCT oil for pain? And you meant CBD oil. The only one I can vouch for is CBD for Life, and that's cbdforlife.com, I believe. They're out of Colorado. In fact, I think they're out of Boulder, Colorado. But I was here in Scottsdale when I learned about them. I used them last year when I went to see my mom. I actually took her a whole bag of lotion for her back, some of the balm for her lower back and for her joints. And I didn't hear any complaints. I guess I didn't hear she loved it, but she's 94, so you never know. Nancy said that made good sense. All right, you are welcome. Fran, when you have a dog or cat, be careful with essential oils. Some are very dangerous for them. Truth, yes, and those dang poinsettias. Have to leave for a class? Thank you. Yes, you are so welcome. Thanks for staying. Lourdes, why do we see our bellies getting big even when no other parts of our bodies get big? What's the best advice for fighting it? That all comes back to cortisol and insulin, Lourdes. So it's about looking at your stress level. It's about looking at all toxins from all sources that you might be taking in, making sure you're exercising in the sweet spot. You're getting high intensity intervals, but you're not getting too much of it. And you're getting a lot of that low to moderate exercise that you love, things that decrease your stress level. Listen to whole tones music, that may help as well, but those kinds of things that help you relax, and you're much more sensitive to sugars and your cortisol and insulin. So if you spike your cortisol or is elevated simply because you're a woman in midlife and you're still eating not the right kind of carbohydrates, but a lot of carbohydrates. So instead of sweet potatoes, you're having regular potatoes, or you're having white bread or white pasta, white rice, any, white, basically, those types of things that rapidly metabolize as sugar or wine or alcohol contribute to more fat cells in the belly, relocating fat cells to the belly. And it may also be an indication, if you're doing everything right, that there's some gut health issues. So you may want to take a look at what are you doing, and maybe time to take a stool test because you may have a little leaky gut going on. And Gail says, are they in Canada? I'm a Mary Kay user. No. So Anne-Marie Skincare is in the United States, but I think they ship all over the world. I think that may be your question. Dora says, what is Mashta? And it's M-A-T-C-H. Mashta is ground green tea leaves. So it is concentrated. So you can buy green tea in bags, but this is actually ground powder from the leaves, so much more concentrated. So if you have a cup or a mug of Mashta, you've essentially had the equivalent of the antioxidants of 8 to 10 cups of green tea. Our Peak teas, caffeine free. Mashta has caffeine in it. Yes, there are some that are caffeine free. The joker in me is saying, but why would you do that? So I totally understand that you might be sensitive to caffeine, but I'm thinking, That's the whole reason I do it. Okay. Robin says, question about the sleep product. Does it give you weird dreams? No, gave me awesome dreams, actually. I saw last night the exact house that I want to live in on the exact lot I want to live in Boulder. So I'm like obsessed with it today. All right, Maria says, does having more dreams mean you're sleeping better? It may mean that you're getting into deeper cycles of sleep. And let me clarify this, that we're probably all having dreams, but we don't always remember them. And part of that is the moment we wake up. So depending on when you wake up, you may wake up on the tail end of still being kind of dreaming, and then you'll remember it. But otherwise, there are people who swear, I never dream, I never dream. You probably do, but you don't remember it. But it also can be an indication that, yes, you're getting into deeper cycles of sleep. You always feel worse after dreams. Interesting. And there are some people who will keep, like you can train yourself to remember dreams. Like if you're working with your subconscious, the way many will say, we all have the ability to be intuitive. We have intuition. And, we may not be clairvoyant, but we can actually train ourselves to be more consistent. Susan says, what brand of pull-up station was that? I think that would make a great gift for my husband. Wink, wink. You know what? I can run back and tell you. Otherwise, it will be in your gift guide. Hold on. Can you see it? Relife is what it is, and that's available on Amazon. I will tell you that I got mine from Kohl's, of all things. I don't know why, but when I was looking for one in May or June, that's what came up. And when I went back to look at it for all of you, the price had gone up, and this one is priced better. So being very comparable in all of the pieces and what looked like just as stable, I just chose the one that was more economical for you. So that's that. You may want to do a little research if you like to comparison shop. During the virtual retreat, Marcia says, which I already signed up for. Wow, that was fast. If we have to miss one day or portion of it, will there be a video of it available to participants? Absolutely. And so let me clarify that. So the happy hour on Wednesday night, you have to bring your own glass. That will be definitely recorded. Saturday, all day, all morning will be recorded. As you might imagine, that will be a long video recording that you'll get. So we'll have to work behind the scenes to see if we can break that up into, like, here's the strength, here's the intervals, to make it a little bit easier for you to open and not have to sort through. But yeah, and then the office hours on Sunday will be recorded too. Thursday and Friday, those will be on your own. I'll just be explaining that homework to you on Wednesday. So I think that was clear, but I just want to make sure everybody else knew that too. Cheryl, do you have a source for hair analysis, micronutrients? I don't. That is not something that I do. I do micronutrient testing, but not hair analysis. So yourlabwork.com/flipping-50 is where I do my micronutrient assessment. If you want to do hair analysis, I'm not sure if Bridget Danner does hair analysis or not, but you might want to check with her. So Hormone Detox Shop is her brand. I hope that helps. What's the name of the sleep supplement you tried? Herbatonin was the name of it. So kind of like melatonin, only herbatonin. Hello from Central Missouri. Hello there. Maureen, can you please give a resource to learn about vitamin C and zinc, best products and quantity? Yeah, I'll share a little bit about vitamin C here. I mean, basically, you're going to do a 2 tolerance. So your body will start to have loose bowels when you're having more than you actually need, right? So they back down and get to that point. So during COVID, I take, up to about 3,000 a day. So I just take it in 1,000 or in 500, depending on the dosage. But you want liposonal vitamin C, so it's easier absorbed. And zinc varies a little bit, but a good place to be might be Hormones Balance. That's Magdalena, my friend Wisloki's site. So check that out for immune boosting, and best products would be, hers would be great. She sells some products. I'm not sure if she sells vitamin C and zinc, but I'm sure she's probably looked at it right in this year. But Pure Essentials, I'm trying to think, Pure Essentials, Designs for Health, Imogen, those are really good quality brands. So all of those would be places that I would look if you were buying it elsewhere on your own. Katie Mills, what do you recommend for a leaky gut? First of all, I would recommend make sure that you get tested. So I would do micronutrient testing, do potentially a stool test, because that's how you're really going to confirm that you've got leaky gut, that what you're taking, what you're eating is not getting absorbed. There's got to be some way to decide what's going in is not being absorbed because all of it is coming out, and or there's some other thing going on in the stool test. So first get tested, really figure it out, and then you want to go through a process. And one of my best friends is Dr. Vincent Pedre. Happy Gut, he's the author of Happy Gut. He right now, I think, is just enrolling in or offering a 5 or a 7-day gut reset. So I would go with him. He is the gut guru, and he's already got something, so I'm not going to reinvent the wheel, but that would be one of the places I would start. And then if you have something more in depth going on, you'll have a better idea of what it is because you'll be educated along the way. Carol says vibration plates can really help in reversing bone loss too. Correct. Yes. Either if you've got one in your home or if you are going to a gym, they can be supportive of it. Bonnie says, is there a best choice answer to doing weights and interval training same day or alternate days? Thanks. Bonnie, really, it's a matter of time. So it's fine for you to do them on concurrent days or concurrent workouts same day, or vary it depending on, do you have a preference for, doing more exercise fewer days of the week, or do you prefer to do something most days of the week and keep it shorter? So for a lot of people, it is a time thing. The thing I recommend against is just mixing them up. So not doing high intensity interval and then doing a strength exercise, high intensity interval and strength, because what ends up happening is you don't get the best result from the high intensity because you don't fully recover between, and you don't truly reach muscular fatigue because you have a different kind of tired going on. So that's kind of what research points to. I'm watching from Maine. Hey, Amy. Great webinar and awesome info. You are very welcome. Never mind. Got it to work. Okay. Trisha, not seeing options. Okay. Just some technical issues. All right. Lourdes says, what section of your website can we find the cost of each of the programs you've described? In the gift guide, Lourdes. So that's in the handout section, and or you'll get that handout in your replay when you get that email tomorrow. So did you open up the gift guide? Try that. It may not be working on your particular device. From Wisconsin, hello, hello. You are welcome. Katie says, I struggled with using any protein powder. No matter how much water I drink or what type of protein I use, I struggle with constipation. Any tips? Yes, carbohydrates. Are you eating any? So if you're not eating any carbohydrates, you're not eating 6 to 9 cups of vegetables a day, you don't have any roughage to poop out. So that's the key. My tip would be look at your carbohydrates. So invite some sweet potatoes, get some berries in there, make sure that you're eating some kind of carbs, and you will feel a lot better fast. Hey, Rosie, you're welcome. 100 Mike House, BC. Okay. Hello from Ontario, was in the house. Sandy says, I wonder where the button is to turn audio on. Sorry, I could not help you with that. Michelle, I'm sorry, not getting any sound. We had a couple of you not be able to figure that out. I've just ordered the smoothie mix and I'm hoping to get some tips on how to use them. Good, you will get some. So watch for your email will give you some suggestions on recipes, and then you can also jump into flipping50.com/recipes, some good ways to use them. Lots of smoothie recipes there. If you are a cafe member, you have a private searchable recipe file full of smoothie recipes and some treats in there as well. And any resources for improving balance. Jessica, so, you know, practicing yoga on a regular basis can be really helpful for improving it. If you're improving your strength overall, you'll have a very small little spillover of balance, but it really does need to be specific. So work on, you know, yoga poses that are like one-legged things like tree pose, half moon pose, even doing things like warrior 1, 2, and 3, where you're in a staggered stance or basically on a balance beam, right? Doing your pose on a balance beam can be very helpful. So you can also do some things and just progressing. So from simple, you know, standing to standing as if you're on a balance beam, but in shoes, and then standing as if you're on that balance beam barefoot, standing barefoot on carpet. So kind of making it a little bit more difficult all the time and just practicing it for a couple minutes every day, because those muscles that are balancing minutely get tired. So just little bits of things will be very helpful. You are welcome, everybody. So, so glad that you joined me. Happy holidays. Keep the questions coming. And the brand of the weight vest, yes. So Lourdes, that's also on my Amazon page. That's in your gift guide. And I think the one I showed you was Synergy. Susan, lots of great ideas for gifts. Merry Christmas to me. So good. I like that attitude. Recommit to being healthy, losing weight in 2021. That weight's just going to come off as a side effect, girlfriend. Not going to talk about motivation this time, just making a commitment. I turned 60 in July, and I am really determined to make my 60s the best me I can be. Appreciate you right back, girl. Hopefully in 2021 at some point, we will get together for a reunion. And Myra says, what did you mean when you said don't mix RT and intervals? Meaning don't alternate. Don't do a high intensity interval and then do weights, and a high intensity interval and then do weights. You want to do your intense intervals and then be done with that, and then do weight training. Separate them. So woven in like boot camps, actually not a good thing for midlife women. You can do them on the same day, you can do them back to back, but don't do them in the same session together, okay? Okay, I think we got all those questions answered. Thank you so much, everybody, for staying to the end. Thanks for your questions, and have a happy, happy holiday season.